Advice to a little girl. They tell me you will be powerful, but I tell them you already are. They tell me you will command armies, but I see that you already command them. They tell me that you will be masterful, and I remind them that you are already a masterpiece. Please don't forget that power is not the lack of mercy, but the ultimate expression of it. Please don't forget that true command comes not from fear, but from devotion. Please don't forget that you've already mastered yourself just by being you. This world, the supportive men and the pigs will try and harden you. This world, the supportive women and the jealous will try and tarnish you. This world doesn't care for truth or mercy, but give it anyway. For you, not for them. Remember that before you, there were others who loved you without knowing you. Remember that the others fought costly, degrading battles to give you a better chance on your own. Remember that when the world is too heavy, we are all there lifting with you, even if our earthly bodies have gone. And most important of all, remember that someday you will be called to give words to another little girl. Leave her a world that is easier to live in than the one I had to leave for you.
This is Passive Aggression by Christopher and Evan Johnston. This is my passive aggression. This is me learning a lesson. This is me taking deep breaths in. And this is me panicked and stressing. This is me letting things go. This is me going with the flow of a doomed midnight ride while scraping both sides and screaming about rights as we go. It's cool, honey bunny, I'm calm. I was worried for a bit, but I'm strong. I've got my family on tether. We're sheltered together. But man, this warm weather's just wrong. It's pulling me outside to see all the pretty bikini string beings, riding the tides, slapping high fives, throwing caution to the wind like, look at me. Because summer is here, so have no more fear, have a Corona and lime by the sea. Too long stuck inside while the bright sun shines, and all we want is to be free from this tyranny. Are you hearing me? Your obsession with public health is infringing me. And I'm sick of TV, I'm sick of disease, I'm cooped up, and guess what? If I stay stuck inside, my business might die, and I've got a family to feed. Also, I really just need a break from the state of unending monotony. I'm sorry, this isn't me. I'm really a nice guy deep inside. If you knew me, you'd know just how hard that I've tried to ride out this plague, but I'm going insane. I demand a cheeseburger and fries. This is my building aggression. This is me ignoring all lessons. Because virus aside, we're all going to die, so now is the time for protesting. And by the way, you know your science doesn't trump my religion. And now I'm fired up. I'm revving my truck, and I don't give a what? No, Grammy, stay inside with your diabetes. You're high risk, and I don't know what I'd do if you died.
It's contagious, you know. It could be anywhere. In the air, on the door, on my clothes. How can I protect myself? Do I have it? Do you? I think I'll wash my hands again. It's contagious, you know. I am so weary of worry. Should I go out? Did I wash enough? If I can't see you, how can I protect you? You who are so tiny, with so much life ahead of you, and you who've been through so much already. Let's talk again soon. It's contagious, you know. Every decision holds the weight of the world. She started making masks. I can do that. I can make masks. So we all made masks. It's contagious, you know. Friends shared masks. Teens shopped for elders. We planted gardens and made birthdays and graduations special. We called nurses and doctors heroes and hoped someday we'd give hugs again. It's contagious, you know.
The waters of the sea, the deepest blue, invite the soul to dive into love. Swim with the dolphins, fish flounder around me as I dive deeper in the sea. Sunlight begins to dimmer with each passing meter. The creatures of the deep swim around with curiosity. My body begins to tire, my soul begins to weep. Feeling cold and alone, swimming deeper and deeper. Soon darkness falls on me, disparaging thoughts invade my lungs. Unable to breathe, I surrender to the ocean, until a faint light from below races to aid my weary soul. Taking my limp hand, this figure carries me to water's surface. I feel strong yet tender hands caress my body. Hope has saved me from surrendering to despair. Opening my eyes to new life, a new song in my eyes, this mysterious stranger saw the pearl in me, worth saving from the sea.
I wrote this poem for Memorial Day last year. It's called Turn Around. I see you standing in water, looking out to sea, knee-deep in secret regret, denying past and present, looking the other way while 85,000 children starve to death. Yet in Venezuela, the orange one wants to use his guns. Turn around. See where you come from. Look at our land and marvel at the trees. How many different shades of green do you see? Look at all the beauty in the land where you were born and all of its diversity. Don't be satisfied looking out at the horizon for some answer in a single evasive ideology. Turn around. Wonder at the only known star in the universe to give birth to the only known planet in the universe that has risen to self-awareness. Be amazed at the miracle that is you. When you do, everything you see or touch in this mortal coil, this mortal shell, this once-around, will fill you with wonder once again. Yes, remember those that have come before. Remember good, for there have been many. Remember not so good, for they have hurt so many. But mostly remember the now, and what you leave behind. Guide your mind with your heart, for every decision you make affects every child still to come. Turn around. Wonder at the world, from smallest insects to genius of humans, all made of stardust, all the children of a planet circling a star we call sun. Turn around.
This is a poem that I wrote in the early 90s, and I submitted it to a literary review, and to my surprise, they accepted it and published it in a book of poetry for that year. The original title was Something Borrowed, Something Blue, but when they published it, I think they may have spelled my name wrong, but in addition to spelling my name wrong, they dropped the something borrowed from the title, and it just became Something Blue, and I stuck with that, and ever since then it's just been called Something Blue. Norma, paint me something blue. Blue enough to drown myself in, cold enough to kill. I want to feel blue and night, the chill to eat me alive, to trickle through my heart, to lick my lips and smile at the frozen crystals that form there. Norma, paint me blue, and when the heat begins to melt and run the colors from the canvas, my frozen lips will smile. Last night I dreamt I was swallowed by the sun.
This poem is called Death Runs in My Family. My mother embraced the bottle. She was open about it, not like her mother, who pretended gin was water. One day, Dr. Barton said to her, "Your only hope is to give it up." And she did. And deprivation deprived her of all sweetness. And so she drank again. In the end, every night for 7 years, she'd call my father's name out from her bedroom, endlessly, as though it would matter if he came to see her, as though anything could change. In the living room, we all pretended there was nothing wrong. Eventually, she died. My wife embraced life. Even when she tried to kill herself, she made sure someone noticed. Then one day, it began. Words began to lose their meaning. I can't believe I said that, she'd say, certain it was a mere slip, but instead, it was a sign that she'd begun her journey to the land of waking sleep. At first, her eyes retained their fiery purpose as she fought to keep herself intact. But then, a bit of wobble, a touch of weakness in her walk. And then, we had to feed her, to help her to and from her bed. And then, she had to leave her home, for now it took a village to get her through the day. Finally, she gave up eating, and caregivers began to paint her lips with water. I watched her each and every day as she dealt with what comes next. On the 14th day, the rains began. On the 16th day, she died. I still live, and I embrace what comes before me every day. And so, when my arm went dead, when they called it drunkard's elbow, when I had to go to Europe to discover I had Parkinson's, after I understood what was at stake, I fought fiercely to keep myself intact. My body's two bodies now, one of them much stronger than the other. For the first time, I can hear them whisper as they yearn to connect. Still, little things accumulate. Jowls, gurgles, aches. I always used to think, just wait, it'll get better. Now sometimes it doesn't. Now I feel a part of me is withering away, and I'm forced to face the fact, one day I'm going to die. I think of my father in his hospital bed. His brain is useless as a lump of clay, his cruelly forced breathing. I think of my mother howling for hours before she passed silently away. I think of the beauty of my wife's final days, and I think, at least this lesser dying is preparing me for death.
Hi, everybody. My name is Bob Williams. I'm going to be reading you two poems. They'll be videoed separately, but you should be able to find them easy enough. The first one is about the making of poetry, or the making of art, and I thought that it would be the right poem for this forum. It's called On Reading Just Kids. Just Kids was a book written by Patti Smith, and it documents her first 10 years in Greenwich Village, which she came to at the age of 18, determined to be an artist. On Reading Just Kids. Patti Smith, you've woken up the lively boy who wandered into the church and fell asleep in the pews. It is St. Mark's, and we are 18. Looking out through the white doorway, all at once, St. Mark's Place, Washington Square, Bleecker, McDougal Street, right there for all of us. Crisscrossing apartments, shared workplaces, attic hideaways, cold doorways, scary friends, never an extra dime. The Strand, the Chelsea Hotel, Waverly Diner, the streets and studios which held you, where something is happening and is always happening and will never happen again. Soft, you remind us, new and shimmering into the New York light that fused the glow of kids just like you. Art lovers living on shared hot dogs and stale donuts, knowing each other and working art together between the shows. Elemental redemptions, life savings. What I'd lost is returned. Practical and bold, you seed and sowed through the ground you made. The world as small as a discarded button, blossoming on a stage of transforming mutiny. Your youth, your loves, your heedless, headlong frolic, surrender to all that art might be. Your pursuit, windblown, luminous, cradled by your own. The real blue light grit, the beauty of your stardom. You and Robert, Joan of Arc and the Blue Prince, styling every moment, every surface, every commonplace, until the world shimmered with its finished, vibrating moment, caught and presented. Collage, performance, blue coat, green dress, images all at once, blazing note cards, breathless invitations, album covers,
song readings, art as gift, on and on, every teeming moment seen for the first time, glowing forever, pursued in rapture and hunger, tenderness and loss, the everyday, the feast of art, right here, right now. You and Robert, only New York, never together in any other place, never leaving the church. Profane Robert, always holding God's hand, and you ever holding his. Thank you.
He looks at me with the eyes the color of an army tent, green and brown, visible and hidden. I stare into those army green eyes and I see the battles that have worn them. I see the pain inside of them. I can see his injuries and 100 deaths. I wonder briefly if they have always been this color or if they started bright and clear like emeralds. I want to comfort him. I long to heal the scars in his army green eyes, but I know I cannot. Those scars are not from my wars. And years ago, my own eyes turned black from my own lost battles. I know if I interfere that his eyes might get as dark as mine. So I walk on. I ignore the plea in his army green eyes. I tell myself that I'm helping him by walking away. As I leave, I catch my reflection. I'm surprised to see a light flickering deep in my black eyes. As it fades, I realize it is the dying glow of the last of his hope and the last of my humanity.
As I lay me down to sleep, into my head thoughts do creep. As zits of stress appear on my face, I feel I tire of the whole human race. And then I think of those risking their lives daily, and here we are complaining and utterly failing. It is for them that we do right when all seems bleak, and because of them we are fortunate to live through the week. I struggle in vain to keep those thoughts at bay, until the sun rises on a brand new day. My heart sinks further with social media and the news. Then I realize I have the power to choose the light or stay in the dark. Sometimes all I need is a walk in the park. Keeping busy and making masks is what keeps my sanity within grasp, knowing that I'm helping more by staying at home and closing the door. So I smile knowing the majority of the world is doing good, donating, creating, and supporting as we know we should. Seeing even the smallest kind act makes me weep, but encourages hope for a better night's sleep.
I wrote this as a memorial for Baby Lollipop. He should have felt the cool breeze pushing back his hair as he spun on a merry-go-round, the sky playfully spinning among the trees, or a kitten, or another hand, his size, clutching him in glee. He should have done so much more if he had lived. He died at 3, tattered and thrown into the weeds, a little life from a dark place, a progeny from those who had no grace, battered because he cried, shattered because he was hungry, and stuffed in a dark closet, his little life slowly ebbed through the holes in his clothes and his soul. He must have had that final cry, a cry for help that could not stop till the stern hand of punishment gave him peace of death, a pitiful cry for help to those who were supposed to care. Rest in peace, Baby Lollipop. Heaven is a place of tears.
For Not Dead Yet Week, we're supposed to be reading poems that were written by ourselves. But today I'd like to share with you a poem that was written by my grandmother. My mother used to say that we would have had a lot in common, though I never met her. Color is either a smile or a frown, the mystic gray, the violet's kind thoughts, Fresh green, new life, springtime. Yellow, the gold of wisdom, oft soiled and dirtied by earthiness, brown. Truthful, calming blue in strength belongs to you. But to thee I dedicate rose pink, showing constancy, delicacy, fastidiousness. By Ida Costello Anderson. Thank you.
The Storm Raging, Inside and Out, by Christopher Johnston. Through pouring rain and chimney smoke, two smokers gaze and choke their tokes, and I sit by my window, listening to a tune played low, some song that reflects the color of today. Gray with a touch of silver, just a sliver of hope. It's not really that bad, but sometimes I lose sight of the rope that reels me in, and so I swim in seas that drown my crops, a seething, swirling maelstrom, twisting, turning me until it stops. And dizzily I regain composure. Try to restrain and reclothe my exposed exposure. I tell myself to focus on closure. That is, seeing the rain through the storm and knowing that all drips dry, all lows find highs, all weather eventually blows by. It's just the nature of the beast, and I know all that. But just to know offers no relief for any of that. It just goes to show we've got to make our peace while we've got the chance. While we dance this dance and swim these seas. To complete our laps, we've got to brave the deep. Or else remain the same, drifting through safe but shallow reeds. So I plug my nose and take the plunge. To love is to hurt, but to not is why some never see past their icy masks. They coolly exist, forlorn and war-torn, living without feeling for as long as life lasts. The storm still rages, and it fills me with doubt. It pours and pours, and it drives me crazy, but it's just a storm, I say, and all storms can be ridden out.
Hi, Bob Williams again. This is the second poem, and it's a much newer poem, and it's pretty straightforward, and so I'll get right to it. It's called Tipping Point. I am watching the world go by and wondering when this will end. I am watching people venturing out, keeping their distance. I am wearing my mask and following the rules. I have put walk rage behind me, filled my days as best I could. Zoomed, shared videos, called old friends. I am turning the other cheek, hoping others will follow suit. I think of the lonely, and I am wondering when it will end. At the same time, I am hearing the president lie every day, watching as the lives of people in swing states are jeopardized for a political splash. I am watching myself, to my horror, becoming almost hardened to the mounting deaths. As the president says, the numbers are good compared to the worst case. Deaths are numbers. No national mourning. And I'm wondering when it will end. I am doing my best, trying to be my best. Like you, I am trying to hope. A radical act in these rented times. I am watching as country-changing orders with nothing to do with COVID are carried out in the dead of night and barely mentioned. And I wonder when it will end, when the tipping point will be reached, and where it will tip. I am staying in. I am ignoring the vicious news cycle. I am sending money, sending postcards, I am ready to vote, no matter how dangerous it becomes. I am not blaming Trumpers. They've been forgotten, ravaged, and used. I am worried about the white supremacists, and even more so by the day in, day out racism that is in our pores. And I am wondering when it will end. I am not hugging. I am not shaking hands. I am not touching. I am listening to music, watching dance. I continue to pray to my gods of faith, hope, love, and the common good. And I refuse to accept their dimming. I do not want to go back to business as usual. I do not want to go back to hate thy neighbor. I believe in science, and I believe in that and those we do not know. I believe in you. I see the hearts leaning to open more. The warm circle of family, warming out to all children, all ages, the haves and those without. All of us in common. I see the surge of what we might be, and I wonder about the tipping point. It is coming, either through us or to us. And I'm wondering, when the tipping point comes, not how will it tip, but which way we will tip it.